Here I come.
Hi, my name is Montana and welcome to the Random Hub. Today I'm talking about the book series All for the Game. Not the Sunshine Court because I've yet to read that one. I'm waiting until it comes out on Audible. I read the first 3 books on Audible and I adored the audiobook narrator. I think he did a great job doing it. So let's get started. I rated the FoxHole Court 4 stars, the Raven King 3.75, and the Kingsman 4 stars. They are all kind of different, mostly just because my enjoyment out of them, as well as because I saw spoilers. I saw so many spoilers over TikTok, and this is what made me want to get into it, is like the people talking about it on TikTok, and I'm like, I'm curious. So I jumped in and I read these books, and I was like, oh, I know what's coming up, pausing and waiting and slowly taking my time through it. Alexander Kennedy was the voice narrator, and I do hope he comes back for the Sunshine Court because, like I said, loved his voice. It could be a different actor, but I would still like it to be him, even if it's not following Neil and it's following John and Jeremy. Okay, so starting off, my favorite character is Nikki. I love him, I adore him. I also love Allison and Dan. I thought Allison was such a fun character, and it was really interesting to see how Neil is a character who doesn't interact much with everyone, and he stays in his own little shell, and how he's now being forced to interact with people but still trying to have his show, how he sees these different characters. So Allison and Dan were some of my favorites, and I loved how, from Neil's perspective, we're able to see how Allison progresses through her grief, which, also hot take, I loved Seth. I thought he was great. Spoilers, this video is going to contain spoilers, I wish he still lived. I loved him so much. I also really do like how all the characters were flawed. They all have these traumas that a lot of kids can have and do have, and it was really interesting to see. And this is a book series I adored compared to another book that I started because it doesn't do that and then this happens and then this happens. There's always a reason why something happens, and Nora does a very good job at understanding why certain things happen. Like they're like, instead of and this is because it is because of this, however they're now reacting to this way, and I really like it. So Neil and Dan I think have a very interesting relationship because he doesn't seem that close to her, but she is like kind of watching him, it seems like, from like the distance, because he's the person that's being able to bring their team together in such a way, which I do kind of hate. That trope is that one person is able to change the entire team and make them all be together, and the loss of one person, which also I did hate Neil a little bit because of how he grieved for Seth, which is not at all. And Kevin also made me kind of angry about that because he's like, we still got a game to play. We're down to play. Who cares? Let's keep going.
Anyway, apparently I have to get back to work. This is bullshit.
The talk with Matt and Seth about their addictions could have gone a lot better. Personally, I wish we got to see him grow more, and I also wish we got to see Seth grapple with his hatred for Rico, because that was just shit, in my opinion. We didn't get to see any of that. So I do wish we handled Matt and Seth's addictions better. I thought it was just handled not in a good way. I felt like it could be handled definitely a lot better. And I wish that more people understood that Seth was trying to get better. A lot of the cast didn't seem to think, like, Allison was firmly on Seth's side, and it sucked that not everyone believed her. I would also like to see that if Seth did survive, how it could unite the team in another way against their hatred for Rico. And maybe if Seth lived, we could have a different timeline of like how these events still go down and them still progressing and getting to the same place that they are currently in the books. I really did feel tragedy about Neil's thoughts on Seth. A lot of this is about Seth, but it sucked. I felt like I felt like if he survived, it could be a good bonding point for Kevin and Seth. They would maybe have that now be able to get along. Maybe they would still butt heads because they're boys, Like, they're young 20-year-old boys. They're going to butt heads. This is like a passion, and they both are not understanding each other the best that they can. And Kevin's whole life has been this. But seeing that someone from Kevin's past try and kill someone in his current, I think it would definitely bring them closer together. I wish we could see more of the upperclassmen and how they handled it in general. And I'm including Nikki into the upperclassmen because we are only getting it from what Nikki's willing to say about his trauma to Neil, and as well as how Neil is reacting to stuff around him. I also want to say that while I do not condone any of Nikki's actions during the first book especially, I don't think that Andrew didn't know. I do think Andrew knew and probably told Nikki and gave him the green light to, if he didn't explicitly tell Nikki, but he gave him the green light to kiss Neil. And that's how I thought Neil got the roofies in his system. But if it turned out it was the coke, or it could be both, I do think that Andrew did know. And I feel like people are not seeing that. So that's very frustrating because Andrew basically knows everything that's going on with the team.
I mean, come on. I know you. You know you. And I know you know that I know you.
And Andrew is the type of character that would let the world burn so that his people are safe. And Nikki is his person, as well as Aaron. But at the time, Neil wasn't. He didn't know Neil. He didn't trust Neil. And he didn't trust Neil until maybe the end of book 3. It's just, he would know about everything going on. And this is why he has Renee making sure that the other people on the team are safe, because they're not his, but he knows that it would hurt some of his people if they were to leave. Is that Neil also has a poor mentality that all of us lower income houses and family has, where it's expensive. What I do love about Neil, though, is that in book 2, we do get to see how he does express, and in general, my opinions on this, that even if my thing, like my racket, is used as a murder weapon, I want it back. That was expensive. You're not going to pay me back for another one. I want that one back because there's a lot of money gone down the drain and I don't have that again. And oh my gosh, give that back. I did think it was cool how Aaron went in and murdered that guy. I wish we got to see more of Aaron personally. I do think Aaron, Nikki, and Kevin were people that we needed more of, but as well as all the upperclassmen, since it was mostly centered around Neil and Andrew's relationship coming in and out. While this is not the best book series in the world, and by no means is it like a classic, and by no means should I say recommend this to anybody and everybody, I do think this is a type of brain rot. It sinks its claws in you and does not let go. Like, I've personally written 2 nearly 10,000 word fics on All for the Game. It is like, it sinks its claws into you, and I love it. I think it's just a very addictive story. While not the best story, it's very addictive. I cannot wait to read Sunshine Court. I do hope that it comes out soon in audio. If it does, I will be reviewing that next. But I do also appreciate how Nora seemed to notice that she can't explicitly herself write about rape scenes and the aftermath of rape scenes because it is such a sensitive topic. And I do think that she did handle it well in the way that she touched on it and like had the aftermath going through everybody. And I also do appreciate how her timeline's kind of set up and how she's able to have these leaps in times and for it to still make sense and for the character progression to make sense for each of these characters. I thought Wymack was hilarious, but also a bit of a donkey, an a-hole. I really do wish he was better written. I do like the 2 women that were like the medical and counseling. They seemed very nice. But I do wish we had more of a better coach. Wymack definitely did his best for the type of character he's written to be, but I personally wish he was better as a man. So overall, please check out the trigger warnings for this book and understand that no one in the Foxes is a good person. They're all trying their best. and they're also only still college students. Even the doctor, the coach, and the therapist, like I said, all have issues. It does appeal to people who want found family, because this is such a found family book series, as well as such a found family fandom. I do like how some of them, they do act like actual siblings, where they will hit each other. They will be mean at each other. They will bite, hiss, scratch. But then the next minute, if someone else is doing it, they will defend and they will beat up the person who's doing that to their sibling. But yeah, if you are okay, please check out the trigger warnings for this book series before reading it. And those are some of my thoughts on the All for the Game series. Thank you. See you till next time. Bye-bye.